Welcome to Opinion Havers, a movie podcast for kangaroo killers. I'm Cody.
And I'm Tyler.
Tyler, ooh, what movie did we watch?
Cody, we watched Talk to Me movie, as I had to say to Google to get it to pull up the movie. Here's what you don't understand. If you say talk to me to Google, it'll just be like, sure, I'd love to talk to you. And you have to be like, no, Google. No. I need you to pull up the movie with the title, Talk to Me. You really got to work with Google on this one. Everybody's like, AI going to take over the world. AI can't even figure out when I want to watch a movie versus when I just want to chit chat. All right. So I'm not worried about it. That's what I'm saying.
I got a question. Are people out here chit chatting with their smart devices?
Yes. Tiffany does it all the time. And she shows it to me a lot, but she does the same thing all the time. You know, you're like, who uses all these like, hey, whatever, tell me a joke. It's Tiffany. It's Tiffany and the other theater kids. It's the theater kids. These theater kids are out here like, Google, tell me a joke. And then Google's like, what's blue and yellow? A scrunchie. And they're like, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, man.
I'm glad that you have a friend.
Oh,
Cody, let me tell you about something real quick. Okay.
Yeah.
I have been auto charged once again for my expensive vitamins. Okay. Let me tell you, this is my third month. This is my first month's bottle.
All right.
If you can just describe what you see as I hold it up to the thing.
It's like a bottle and it's like half full.
It's like half full
pills.
So I have an entirely untouched pair of bottles in the kitchen. I have a half full pair of bottles here, and I just see that I've been charged for the third set of bottles. I don't think I'm taking these vitamins, Cody. I don't think I'm doing it. I think that's what I need to accept.
I think what they're telling you is you need to triple up so you can catch up. Your body's craving those vitamins it's been missing the last 2.5 months.
You gotta real minty fresh breath, you know? Let me tell you about these vitamins, all right? I won't say their name. You know it. It's called Ritual. I said it. I gave, all right? Ritual
not a sponsor.
But
don't worry. We don't have any sponsors.
Let's talk about their pills are mint flavored, and they make your breath smell minty for hours afterwards, which means every vitamin and pill you've ever taken that makes your breath smell bad or it tastes bad, they're out to get you. They're a bunch of monsters. They could have made it mint flavored. They could have made it taste minty and made you smell minty. But they chose to make you smell like you just took a Costco brand multivitamin.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life. All right. That's what, and every time you're like, oh, what's that smell? It's your friend. He takes cheap vitamins. All right. And you need to cut him out of your life, call him a poor, smack him in the face, push him in a puddle, and walk away. All right. That's what I learned from this movie.
Tyler, it's a great movie. Let me give you the rundown of it.
What, you don't want me to tell you about the movie?
Look, here's the thing. I would, but you just watched it and I saw it 2.5 months ago. So who's more equipped to, give the rundown? Think about that. Think about it. That's right. It's you. Go ahead.
Cody, let me tell you, this movie is about... You ever seen that movie, Middle School or whatever, 8th grade? What's it called?
Is this the equivalent of like using a word in the definition of it's like, what's the movie about? Well, let me tell you about another movie to describe this movie.
Exactly.
8th grade?
8th grade.
The Bo Burnham directed movie about how horrible it is to be in 8th grade?
Cody, that's just about a bunch of friends having a good old time, all right? And that's what this movie is. It's a bunch of friends having a good old time. Who hasn't busted out the Ouija board and summoned the devil in their parents' basement, all right? I haven't, because I'm a good boy, all right? I've told my wife, if she ever brings a Ouija board, this is what I say, Cody, I do not use certain words in any context around my wife, okay?
All right.
It's not cursing. It's just, some people joke about splitting with their spouse. I would never, Cody. I would never in a million years. But I have said, if you ever buy a Ouija board, and then I give her a look, So she knows. That's one of those things.
That gives you deniability in court. That's really good. That's smart. That's a real lawyer trick right there.
I'll stand up on that stand. They'll be like, "Why do you want this?" And I'll say, "Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, she bought a Ouija board, and everyone will be on my side universally." All right, that's what you understand. Yeah. Ouija boards, devil stuff, D&D, Halo, Call of Duty, they're all the same. Pokemon is the worst of all.
Harry Potter.
If your kids are watching Harry Potter and playing Pokemon, they might as well be summoning demons. All right, that's what's happening here.
That's what they are. They're demons that go in your pocket. That's what Pokemon means.
But in short, this is Hereditary, but based in Australia.
Excellent description, Tyler. Let me tell you, look, my hot take on this movie, loved it. Obviously, I loved it because I made you watch it, and I've been waiting to make you watch this for a minute. What's your hot take? What'd you feel about it? You know, give me give me a taste.
Cody, I'm here to tell you that I think A24, they do a great job. They do a good job making movies. They come in here, they find these little indie projects, and they say, hey, friend, hey, friendo, let us, giant mega corporation A24, help you live your dreams. All right. And they're out here letting people live their dreams. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and I appreciate it. I think their movies have a level of quality that I am amazed by. I think here's what I'll tell you. I think all A24 movies show that you don't need $100 million to make a movie that looks good, which is something that I feel like the industry forgot for like 20 years. And I appreciate them for that.
But what if you spend $150 million and you make it look kind of crappy? Is that what you're supposed to do?
No, because you could have just spent less.
I see it happen. I see people blowing, up to like $200 million. And it's like, you know what? This looks not as good as movies that cost less than half that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it sounds like you have a sincere respect for this movie, but that's all I've heard so far. You respect what they've done with it.
I'll tell you, Tiffany, her little gremlin butt, she was like, "This is a good movie." She immediately went into doing what? Watching horror movie trailers and all that. You know, as she does. She's going to be doing that for the next, forever, for the rest of my life now. And it is the closest I ever come to having a genuine fight with my wife is when she starts watching horror movie trailers. Because she'll be like, those kids that like would just sit on the computers at school and Google on YouTube the Saw movie deaths compilation, part 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
She's one of these kids.
That really surprises me because I thought Tiffany only watched like nice girl movies.
She watches Barbie Dream Adventure movies and some of the most horrific horror movies. Her siblings. Okay.
What was her spooky movie last year? Wasn't it like, I don't know, Pumpkin Adventure 5 or something?
Her spooky movie last year, I think we watched Corpse Bride because I asked her to
Coraline.
pick that one.
It was probably Coraline, wasn't it?
Which is horrifying, to be fair, as a child's property.
Of course, yeah, it is.
I'll tell you right now, Coraline is a scarier movie than this movie.
No, but carry on.
It is.
No, it isn't.
It is, though. This movie is, what if a bunch of kids and spirits, and then let's show some smashed up faces. That's one thing. All right. You brought it out. You've summoned the dragon, as they say.
Hold on.
Okay, Cody. A24, you're better than this. Here's my hot take, A24. You don't need to show, you're not that weird girl on Instagram anymore. You don't need to you don't need to show how great your gore effects people are at making faces look messed up. You can just make a good movie that doesn't rely on that. Name one A24 movie that does not rely on stage makeup to like shock you.
What are you talking
we
about?
all have
dude?
this one girl that we knew in high school. She has on her Instagram where she's like, just trying something out today. And you're like, oh, what's she trying out? And it's her face gashed open with blood out of it. And A24 is that as a production company. And it's like, you don't need that, A24. Look, A24, come here. Sit down. Look. People care about you, okay? You are loved. Know that. Okay? I'm here for you. If you need to talk to somebody, I'm here. But also, I mean, I feel like it's pretty good. Pretty good movie.
Alrighty. Well, do you want to dive into it? Do you want to really, go for it?
I mean, Cody, let me tell you, hop on in to my mid 20 teens family SUV, okay?
Yes.
All right? Luxury SUV. Yes. Hop on into it. What brand is it? Who knows? They're all featured in the A24 movies. Hop in and let's drive on down to Spoiler Town, USA.
Nice. Tyler, do you want to go first? That's the question. Or do you want to cede your time to me? You know
what? Here's the thing, Cody. I just watched this movie, so I'll go first. So then, unless you got a ton of notes.
What notes? You think I got notes? I have this movie cataloged in my brain. I don't need no notes.
So proud of you now. Okay. Are you ready? I'm hitting go. Okay, so you shush. Okay, Cody, let's talk about this. It starts off like every A24 horror movie. Spending the first half hour of, I'll tell you this, Cody, let's talk about this. Let's high five over this thing. Shout out to them bringing back the 90-minute movie. High five. Boom. We did it. We won. Okay. A24 never stop, never stopping. Okay. Because you are out here killing it with the 90-minute movies. And I want them to become popular again. Look, Dune can be a 4-hour movie. A random movie about a marriage falling apart does not need to be 2.5 hours. And I know, Cody, I know you're thinking he's talking about this movie. I'm not. I said that is every movie that is not like let's talk about every movie that comes out now. What is it? It's Marvel or, oh no, these two sad people are sad together now. Will they be better if they work through their stuff? Nope. Moving on. That's every other movie. And it's like, come on. We need A24 is out here being the beacon of hope. Okay. I will give them that. Okay. Nothing will ever taint my love for A24, no matter how many crappy horror movies they make, how many weird movies about Robert Pattinson being high in space. Okay. I never even seen the movie, Cody. You told me it was awful, so I'd never watch it. Okay. But this movie is pretty good. I'd say here's a spicy take, Cody. Let me give you the spiciest take. Well, Cody, hold on to your seat. Lean back, strap in. I think this movie's better than Get Out. Don't you? Isn't that spicy? But it is, though. You look into your heart. Search your feelings, young Padawan. You know it to be true, okay? Look through look over there. You see that? That's the lies of the Jedi. I want you to look through it to see the true king of movies, which is not Jordan Peele, okay? So let me tell you, Cody, I only took a few notes. I took notes, I'll be honest, exclusively to avoid looking at the screen, all right? I wrote, seems like a cool party. I want you to know I wrote that after the guy stabbed himself in the face. Boom, okay? The guy comes out, he stabs himself right in the face after stabbing his brother in the chest. And I was like, seems like a pretty cool party. Seems like Australia. I'll tell you, I almost lived in Australia when I was in high school, and now I'm thinking like, man, I could have been out here stabbing people. I could have been out here at parties where people are getting stabbed left, right, and center. It seems like the coolest place ever, all right? Let me tell you about horror movies in general, okay? You may not like to hear this, okay? But horror movies suck. And not for the reason I'm about that you're thinking. I'm thinking this is why. it's not, you're not a good movie if you have to make all the dialogue so quiet that I have to turn it up so loud that when you go like, da-da, it scares the crap out of me because it's so loud. If you make everything super quiet except for the jump scare, then that's not a good jump scare. And it doesn't feel earned. It just makes me mad. And so what do? I always turn on the subtitles, which makes it less scary. Why? Because when the music switches, instead of that subtle, like, oh no, something feels off, it goes from like happy, upbeat music to ominous music at the bottom. And you're like, oh, something's about to happen. And you don't really get got by the jump scares anymore. I will say this movie, I will commend it. I feel like this movie relied more heavily than it needed to on the jump scares, but not more than it should have. Does that make sense? I feel like they didn't overdo it. I feel like one more jump scare, I would have started getting real ticked off at this movie, but they did it enough where I'm like, I get it. You're whatever. You're out here. It's the low hanging fruit, but just know, remember, A24, people care about you. Okay. And you're better than that. Okay. Just remember, you're better than that. Okay. My only other note was it's Hereditary, but in Australia and with dumb kids. That's all it is. It's the same thing, right? It's an incredibly similar story, but with like less story to it and more dumb kids. In Hereditary, Cody, I don't know if you remember, there's one dumb kid. In this, there's several dumb kids. So that's the difference. Also, there's like, instead of one demon, there's spirits. I don't know. Cody, I mean, it was like, was it a good movie? Yes. Was it my favorite movie? No. Am I glad that I rented it in standard def instead of buying it? Yes. Oh, yeah. Standard def, Cody. I saved those $3 so hard.
Tyler, look. I was so proud of you till just then. If you need $3, Tyler, please, next time you rent a movie, I'll Venmo you the $3. It would be my pleasure to give you $3 so you don't have to watch this in standard def.
Here's the thing.
All right, now you be quiet. Oh, yeah, tell me the thing, though. Tell me.
The thing about it is I rented it in standard def, and there was about 2 minutes. Here's what I think. I feel like Google was like, all right, here's standard def. And then about like 5 minutes into the movie, it was like, you know what? Here, just take HD.
Just take the HD. I can't.
It looks fine. But everything's so dark that I was like, I can't tell if this is actually in standard def or not. So, I mean, it looked fine. But I was like, it was like $8 to rent it. Man. Also, Cody, how dare you? I rented this out of my own fun money. This did not come out of the family fund. Gosh. This came out of my personal weekly allowance, Cody. So how dare you?
Oh my goodness. Well, good for you. All right, now you be quiet because I have things to say. And I lost the timer. So how do you feel about that? All right, here we go. Tyler, look. This is a great movie. And here's the thing about it. You talked about, the 90-minute movie and they gripped it and ripped it. And I really appreciated that. I'm going to say it to start. This might be my new favorite horror movie. And it's hard because I love the Ari Aster ones so much. And they kind of got me into horror. And I love the Jordan Peele movies so much. And they're all so great. But this one went down so easy. They came in hot. I appreciate when a horror movie comes in hot. Because they come in and they're like, look, this dude's acting weird. And he stabbed himself in the face. And you're like, whoa, that's a hot start. You gave me a little tease. You let me know something's going on. And, I like that. Because sometimes you get a horror movie and it's like, oh, it's so light for the first 20 minutes that you're like, I don't even know. I'm not ready. This movie comes out the gate. It's like, this is the vibe. I hope you're ready, idiot. And then and then it's not that long till it gets into it. And you're going to tell me this is the same as Hereditary just because it's the same? How dare you, sir? It is the same, but it's also different. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing. This movie's great for a lot of reasons. Part of it is the pacing is just right. And one of the things I love about it, I don't know. I've never seen The Exorcist, but I do kind of know from horror trailers what the possession movie vibe is. And it's like possessed child, priest man, priest out here, and look at the possession, you know? And what I love about this movie is it takes like the cool teen party approach to it. So like you're watching all these possessions, but also it's a party, you know? So it was such a cool way to experience a possession movie where it's just like, it was such a realistic, like these are high schoolers just getting into trouble, you know, but they're doing it with possession hand. And I thought the vibe was just perfect in that way, because you're kind of like worried about what's going to happen, how it's going to go, you know, because they tease it so well with like all the teens watching on their phone and they're watching these crazy videos and people are like, I want to try it, you know, and they go through the thing. And then when they finally do it, you're like, that was crazy. But then immediately the teens are like, oh, so cool. And then everyone starts taking turns and you're like, this is exactly how it would go in real life, you know? And that's what I really liked about it. I thought it was well cast, very well acted, and I really enjoyed that about it. I think super well written. I really love the premise. I like the rules they set up, and, you know, the moment that one of the possessions goes on too long, you're kind of like, oh crap, this is how it's going to go down. So, you know, I just think it was set up well, it was paced well, and it just went through its paces. And finally, like, you know, there was some really good foreshadowing, like even in the introductory scene, it kind of brings up, oh, who's this guy? What's going on with him? And then later in the movie, you meet that guy and he's like, oh, you still have the hand? You're an idiot. You know, you shouldn't have kept it and all that stuff. And so, you know, the thing that happened to that guy is what starts to happen to her. So I really like kind of the full circle element of it. And then even further going through to the end, that's also how it goes. You know, she goes through it all. And I think it's such a clever way to end the movie. And, it's really hard to make a satisfying ending to a horror movie. And at the end of this movie, it comes full circle, right? So she dies, but then she gets woken up by someone else, you know, and that's like the end of the movie. And it was such like, I don't know. I loved the loop of the movie. And for a horror movie, really hard to pull off, you know? And that's kind of what I like about Ari Aster's horror movies is I feel like they have good endings, which is it's the biggest problem, right? The horror movie's so fun until the last like 15 minutes when it's like just the fight to survive. And then the last 2 minutes is like, okay, the horror's over. How are you going to end it? You end with them leaving, and maybe you do another spooky thing at the end to be like, oh, but did they get out? I don't know. You know, and it's kind of like, okay, well, that's not satisfying, right? Because I want to know the end of the story. And, you know, and this way, I don't know. It was such a great way to end the story and be like, nope, it's a perfect loop. And I don't know. It was just super satisfying. And that I think was its greatest strength. But, you know, the vibe was right. The cast was great. And it just is great. It was a great movie, and it was better than Get Out. And I hate to say it because Get Out's so good, you know? It's hard to say. It's hard to do it to my boy.
Cody, how dare you? I'm going to cut you off before you embarrass yourself anymore by saying it's better than Get Out. Who would say that?
Yeah.
Get Out is the best horror movie ever. And Hereditary is the best. It changed. Yeah. It saved. You know,
that's what's kind of cool about
Cody.
Hereditary and this movie is that they're like, less of this. You know, that's what's kind of cool about them is they're kind of like unsuspecting, like accidental possession movies. Because Hereditary is like, oh, they duped her. You know, they duped her into possession happening. You know, and they get her son. And this one's kind of the same way where it's like, it's all fun and games until, you know, you get a bad one. And then look what you did. You know, you done messed up.
Yeah. You know, these kids, kids, hey, look at me, kids. Look at the screen while you're listening to me. Don't.
Yep.
Just have an orgy or something. Like, come on, you know. Freaking don't mess with demons. You know, I don't know how many times. Look, if I come down, if I'm a father one day and I bust in on my kids doing this, I'm killing everyone in the room and then myself. All right. I'm going to be like, we're just cutting to the consequences here. Okay.
And that's kind of the point of this movie too, right? Is that like
might as well just get
the demons trick the
right
people into being like, hey, I'm being attacked. I got to kill this guy or I got to kill myself, you know?
Well, I do think one thing that's interesting, right? I know I keep saying the demons and stuff, right? But the whole thing, right, is that these aren't even demons or anything. They're just, these are spirits in limbo. That's like why her mom's there, because that's like,
or is her mom there? That's the other question.
If you kill yourself,
which was a really cool element of this too. Is she's like, "Mommy," but then really, it's
that's
like,
what I thought.
I love that they kind of teased as they went, like, wait, these spirits know stuff about us because they're possessing us, you know, like. There's the one spirit that teases the guy who's like, hey, he doesn't like you. You know, you make his pee soft, you know, that one. And so I love those kind of hints at it where they're kind of developing the lore of it. And then you realize, oh, right, they totally could fool her into thinking it was her mom when it isn't. Yeah.
That it's her mom. Oh, yeah. And I guess they do show there towards the end that they can look like other people when they look like her dad. There's one that looks like her dad and everything. So I guess that is true. Because I kind of read it as it was her mom, but her mom was like a deeply disturbed person. You know, like imagine if you have somebody that struggles with depression and like bouts of being crazy so much that they kill themselves. And then they go into like one of the worst fates that you can imagine, because that's the whole thing is limbo is not really like a bad place or a good place.
I read it as it was just a really
just kind of nothing,
devious spirit that was masquerading, you know? Oh, man. It was, that's the other thing that I thought was awesome about this movie and the performances. It was so cool to watch the actors transform. And it was so many different kinds of spirits, right? There was like a horny spirit. There was a really evil, mean spirit. There was like, you know, like nice ones, crazy ones. Yeah. And so like watching the actors do multiple one,
like the nice lady that
like, this is awesome. Yeah. Just really awesome acting, you know? I think it really shows your chops when you can do multiple characters in a movie. And even this one where it's like you're only in that character for like a minute, you know?
Yeah. Cody, what if I told you that A24?
What's that a shirt of?
Selling shirts for this movie. It says talk to me, and then what looks like it's been written in Sharpie. I've got the key to the Devil's Playground, and then it's a picture of a kangaroo.
It was the kangaroo all along.
That's who it was. The kangaroo was masquerading as her mom. Cody, let me tell you, I have been there when an old lady hits a deer, and I know one thing about kangaroos in Australia, and that's that they're kind of like a deer to us Americans, okay? Meaning that some people get real broken up when you see a dead one on the side of the road, but those people, you don't need those people around you, okay? Because those people will ruin your life, okay? If you're ever out on a date and you pass by a deer that's dead on the side of the road, and the girl or guy or girl or whatever, you know, because you gotta be included, you know, because the first thing was it was a guy out with a girl, and then the second time I said a girl, it was a girl out.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's why I said it twice like that, or anything or whatever, you know. Be inclusive, Cody. Don't be a bigot. Be an ally, Cody. That's what A24 means. Ally 24 hours a day. Okay. Now, and they're like, oh no, and they're broken up with the rest of for the rest of the date. Guess what? You know, I've already told you what you got to do. Kill them. They're all broken up, so you've got to break up.
Look,
that's what I was going to say. Cody, you came in a little stronger there.
If something's in your way, you got to kill it. You know what I'm saying?
You got to do it.
If your dad's trying to help you, he's actually trying to kill you. You got to kill him. You know, that's how it works.
You know, look, when that happened, I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, all right. Now let's talk about the injustice of the ratings of this movie. On specifically, Cody, stay with me here. The Google ratings, which I feel like are usually fairly high, because I mean the tomato meter, outstanding. Of course it is, because it's a bunch of hot teenagers getting possessed. The horror movie community loves the hot teenagers getting possessed, Cody. They love it when a bunch of kids harm a younger kid during possessions. That's the trick. I don't understand why these horror movies keep failing. Just throw a bunch of hot people in a room and have them beat a child to death, and everyone will be like, best horror movie ever. Okay? It's low-hanging fruit, people. But for some reason, Google
I don't know, dude. People in horror, why don't we just read one or two of these suckers? This guy, what'd he say? Wow, this is the best horror of 2023. This guy's cool. Here's some high reviews. Let's look at a bad one. All right. He watched it for Halloween. This is Bugsy Klein, 14 hours ago. All right. Anything but creative and expressive. That's what I'm looking at. Quite a letdown. As the story was so thin, it was almost non-existent. Uh-oh. Wow.
1 point. So this person, now let me tell you, I was bad mouthing this exact kind of person to Tiffany right after the movie. All right, let's talk about it. Here's the thing. I look down on all horror movie fans, Cody. That includes you and Tiffany. And I told Tiffany this too. Here's why. You're addicts, okay? But you're like the kind of people who do cocaine socially, you know?
Yeah.
You can quit anytime you want, but you never will, because you never are going to want to. So if I ever bring up quitting, you get visceral and you get mad and you get violent. But you can quit anytime you want. So it's fine. Okay. These people out here are like, if somebody came up to you and you're like, look, you don't like you. The only reason you don't appreciate heroin is because you don't understand the artistry of it. Okay. And if you just like understood why heroin is better than anything else ever, then you would understand it.
Yeah.
And you would join me in appreciating it. That's what you sound like as you sit through an awful horror fest just to get a shot of adrenaline. Just go base jumping. Or as I said to Tiffany, just go jerk off. It'll give you the same kinds of endorphins, but you don't become a psychopath, and there's way less risk
or both
of you stabbing your friend or yourself in the face. You know, that's my message. Just get into base jumping.
Well, look, let me tell you the moral of this 2-star review. But wait, there's the worst part of all this. Talk to Me was A24's highest grossing film to date. I predict this will mark the end of the quality and artistic freedom that A24 gave us for so many years, and will now be replaced with cash grab trash like Talk to Me. So I guess Talk to Me is really more of a tragedy than a horror story. 1.4 stars for the McDonald's-like experience.
Cody, so what they're saying, Cody, is that you have brought us a cash grab trash movie. So you have become, I've won. No, you're into trash movies now. We need to rewatch the Transformers movies.
No.
Because you'll like them now. Also, highest grossing movie. Cody,
I don't know. I would guess it's like 70 mil or something.
What's the box office on this movie? Oh, Cody, you fool. This is a cash grab movie. We're not talking about 70 million, you fool.
When that is your studio's highest grossing movie and people are calling you a sellout, it's like, what do you even know? Tyler, I know.
But Cody, it's a McDonald's like movie,
Well,
so it's definitely got a big budget. Okay, no, hold on. Let's look up the Vavitch. Okay, you got the Vavitch. You love that movie. Oh, Cody, the Vavitch only had a $4 million budget. Okay,
mm-hmm.
masterpiece of a film, Cody, the best. Okay, Hereditary doesn't even say. That's how much of a masterpiece it is. It won't even tell me what the budget was. Budget was enormous in Hereditary.
Yeah,
But this film,
I mean, for sure.
cash grab.
Well, here's what's really interesting about this movie.
Million.
The dudes
You
who
believe they've
directed it,
sold out?
Danny and Michael Philippou, I don't know if you say it, that's how you say the name, so sorry about that. They are a couple of Australian YouTubers, and they have, I guess, like a really deep catalog of like action and like horror shorts and like stuff like that. And so they've been doing it for like quite a while, and it really shows, right? Because they were able to have this really clear vision. They get in, they get out, fast paced, really well done, really well directed. But it just, so it's funny to call it like a cash grab movie. And it's like, if you're cash grabbing, you're grabbing some big, you don't do a cash grab movie and do a first time director. That's not how it works, So A24 was like, hey, these guys are great. They just haven't done a feature yet. Let's give them a feature. I also saw in the trivia, supposedly they turned down an unknown DCEU movie in favor of doing Talk to Me for their first directorial debut, which is super rad. I also heard, and I see conflicting things about this, I heard that while they shot this movie, they shot enough footage for a prequel. Like they double shot, which I don't know if that's true, because I also saw somewhere else that they were like, hey, someone asked the director if he wanted to make a sequel, and he said, would love to. This won't need to be successful. Please help me, like go see it basically. But I don't know. So I don't know what to believe, but they are quite prolific. They have tons of footage for all their YouTube stuff. They've, tons of stuff they've already done. So super cool dudes. Loved it. Love the Aussie vibe. Great cast. But for me, fantastic movie. I also, they leaned really heavy on like practical effects, especially for like the spirit possession transformations. They're like, hey, we're going to do a lot of practical work and just make it all, but the design of it, I thought was all like fantastic. So I thought it really showed, right? They didn't have to spend a ton of movie and it looked great. I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you. It was a fantastic movie. I mean, and I think it's interesting too. People would talk about like the story's really thin, but for a horror movie, I thought it had plenty of depth to the story, right? And there's like, right? She's grieving, lost her mom, connects with her mom via possession, and that leads to her demise. But like, the whole symbolism of like the kangaroo on the road, and will you put it out of its misery? Yes or no? And also like seeing what happened to the guy at the teaser start versus what happened to her at the end. Her dealing with her grief the whole time. And I thought like they go into how she was leaning on her family a lot, but then her friend is dating someone. So that puts them out of whack, but also she's still kind of close with the younger brother, but she puts him in danger. And they go into also like her strange relationship with her father. And they do all of it where they give you just enough detail to make it feel realistic and honest, but they also don't overdo it, right? They could have made this like a 2-hour 15 movie and it could have felt like stretched out and thin. And instead they gave you just the right amount of detail to paint the color of it and make it, make it all work. So for me, I don't know what this person's talking about. I thought it was a great story and rang true, all like the reckless high schoolers doing their thing and one person struggling and going through a tough time, but also losing out on friends because of like moving relationships. Also like some closeted Christian dude who's pretending like he doesn't want to do sex because he's abstinent, but really he's just closeted. It was like, hey, there's a lot going on here. And it's great. I don't know. People are so lame. People are dumb.
Okay, now hold on. We gotta dig into something here for a second, because I felt like they talked a lot. Like he was more into Mia than the girl he was dating. And he used to date Mia.
I guess
And what
maybe
you
I
got
was
from that
thinking because
was
when he gets
he's
possessed,
gay.
doesn't he go like? He wasn't looking at a dude. He was looking at Mia, wasn't he? I haven't seen it for a while. Maybe that's what I thought the first time was. I was like, oh, he's like a gay dude.
Yeah.
But he just liked the other girl better. Whatever. You know, that's probably right. It's been a while, dude. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was gonna say, because there were so many layers to that where I wanted to find out. Did you just
no.
get a different read
It's just
on
been
it?
too
Do
long.
you think
You know, it's been a
closeted
while.
means you're into
I
somebody?
saw this in
that
the
you
summer,
don't wanna
dude.
go-
You know, it's now. You know, it's
Okay.
basically like fall.
You know. Here's the thing that I just realized as I pulled up these guys' YouTube page. I have seen their YouTube videos, but they're always like show up as clips of stuff because they do like all those really good versus videos where it's like Harry Potter versus Star Wars and stuff. You know, where they're like, and so I was like, oh yeah, no, I have seen their videos. Yeah, these guys are they're good. They're good at what they do, Cody. So everybody, they're good at stuff. Here's the thing about this movie. Okay, let's here's what I don't like about horror movies. All right, it's horror movie fans and the scariness. You know, how long did I put this off, Cody? We're halfway through the month, and this was supposed to be the movie that we watched before the month was over or before the month began.
Yeah.
I weaseled out for 2.5 weeks or so until my wife forced me to do it. And I'm very scared of the next movies, right? I told her, I was like, I'm going to pick like Barbie Halloween Funland or whatever for my movie that we're going to watch.
Hold on,
all of you guys are
dude.
psychos
Look,
that like the worst movies that have ever
I
been
blessed you because let me pull back the curtain here. All right. And there's no shame. There's no shame. But Bailey picked a movie. I thought she was going to pick Teen Witch. All right. Which is, you know, right. It's about a witch, but it's very much a teenage girl 80s or 90s movie. And there's a musical number and, you know, it's not like scary. And instead, she went for Totally Killer on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, also, I kind of want to watch Saw. So Bailey and I both watched Totally Killer and Saw in the same week. And I gave you the option of either one because, right, one is like, it is a horror movie, but really it's a little bit of a comedy. It's a little bit of a time travel thing. You know, it's not crazy scary. And Saw is like straight horror movie, but it's also a little dated, you know, but it's much more twisted, right, than, you know, an 80s time travel slasher comedy. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so look, you got two, you know, you're welcome to take the coward's way out and do. So you know what I'm saying? Like, you got it. You can do it. There's an escape pod for you, you know? What did Tiffany pick? That's the real question, because it sounds like she might have picked a good one, you know?
She's
okay.
She's listed several. Here's her thing. She is determined to whatever Bailey picks, because I haven't told her Bailey's pick yet. Whatever Bailey picks, she's going to outdo her.
I'm sorry.
Because she doesn't like this attitude that you're giving her of the wife picks are bad. Because she's determined. Because Bailey picks bad ones. So that's the whole thing, is that the wives, and the whole pitch, right? The whole pitch for the wife picks was
right,
so that they
but
could
also that
force
could
us to
just
watch
mean a
movies
different
that we would
genre,
normally
right? It
fight
could just mean a genre because we watch all dude
They're
movies,
supposed
you know,
to be bad movies. No, because you're a trash person that would never watch most of these movies that Bailey likes.
Right.
Whereas I'll eventually watch the movies that Tiffany wants to watch. You know, so I'm about to be like, oh yeah, Bailey, she picked something. I don't know. It's to try to trick Tiffany into picking Halloween Town. All right, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, because she's definitely gonna pick like just a nightmare-inducing movie. And you know what? The more we do this, the less bad I feel about making you watch Lights Out. Because that's not even a horror movie.
Sorry,
that's like an
because you're so wrong.
Scary monster.
Talk to Me is like fun while it's a little spooky, right? And it's my kind of horror movie because it's kind of like a interesting concept, interesting premise. And, you know, that's all about me. You know, that's what I like in a sci-fi movie, in a horror movie, and, you know, any of those kind of movies. Lights Out is a straight jump scare fest, you know, like that's all it. And that's like the horror movie I hate, is the full straight on jump scare ones, you know? So for me, that's way scarier than Talk to Me, right? And even you said Talk to Me isn't that scary, you know? Lights Out is a horror show, and it's the worst kind of movie for me because it's straight up stand here, watch the screen. At any moment, something's going to jump out of you, except it's going to be after you've said, surely something will have jumped out at this point. No, it's going to be 10 seconds later. Also, there's going to be 4 more jump scares behind it because we're not done. We did it once. We got more to do. You know? Yeah.
Hold on. I looked up jump scare movies because I was like,
Lights Out.
Picking a jump scare.
Yeah, dude.
Movie.
And well,
what's the first?
And that's
one
the thing. You talk about the jump scares in this movie. There's only a few, and like some of them are really well earned. Like there's a jump scare when she like slaps herself in the face when she's possessed. And it's like, I didn't see that coming, right? It didn't cut to her. Like she's in the middle of the frame and she slaps herself and it's just shocking. Really clever jump scare, in my opinion, you know? So granted, I haven't seen this in 2.5 months, you know? Oh, well, there you go. Like I said, it's been 2.5 months, but you know, how many were there? 3, 4?
That was just her.
Jump scares.
I will say this. I think I didn't like. Oh, so here's the thing. I didn't like the jump scares.
You made me watch.
That's just because I don't like jump scares. But I do acknowledge that this movie.
That's what makes them worst. That's what makes them worse.
Coming from a mile away.
It's when I have to sit there and watch and wait for it.
They both do the same thing with the jump scares. Is they'll sit you down in a dark room. And they'll make you look at that coat on the wall that when you were sitting at home alone in your bedroom at night, when you were a kid, and you'd see your coat hanging up on the wall and you thought it was a monster, and you'd stare at it. And then both of these movies, Lights Out and both did the thing where they're like, well, we're going to look at it for a minute and then it's going to move. Now, the thing is, they both also do the thing of like, jump scare, now look at it, nerd. Look at it, you know? But they also, here's the thing, A24 just in general, they have some fantastic stage makeup people. But like I said, you can have a good movie without relying on these people. Because they always just are like, but what if we made everyone look like they'd been dead? Like all of the living people, make them look all the time like they've been dead for 3 months. And I'm like, why though? Did you notice one thing I will say that I did like? How her mom went from looking almost like she was just a normal person to more and more messed up as the movie went on. Yeah, I liked that. That was a nice little touch. I liked the little moments where they would have someone else's hand.
So good, dude.
Everyone loved the part where she sucked on some toes.
I mean, that was also... I watched this in a theater, and I was surprised. There were quite a few people there. It wasn't like packed, but I was like, oh, A24 horror movie. There's like a good little audience going here. And everybody was like, oh, this isn't happening, is it? Are we all watching this? You know, it was a fun kind of gross out. Everyone was like, ew, toes, you know? It was fun. I think a lot of people enjoyed the movie, and it was fun to see it.
Yeah, and then they just made you watch it happen. And this lady, let's talk about it. This lady, they had, you know, you got the main character Mia. She, you know, spoilers. She was the one sucking on the toes. But when the ghost lady, shout out to that actress. That lady was deep throwing that guy's.
Well, I mean,
foot.
you gotta.
She was going
do it
down
justice,
to
you know.
Ankle
If you're gonna
go
toe deep, you gotta go ankle deep
to the role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This lady went after it with a vengeance, and I respect her. And no matter what else I thought about this movie,
I mean,
I have a newfound respect for that actress. She is, she needs to be the next Wonder Woman or something.
I will say too,
crying out loud,
early in the movie when she picks up the friend's little brother, and they're driving, I thought it was, first off, Sia, Australian artist, so that's a good choice. But they sing Chandelier, right? I think in the car. Which is also a great choice, right? Because it's a song about like diving off the deep end and, going too far. And that's exactly what they do with like the possession thing, right? They're looking for that escape and going off the deep end. So, I just think it was well thought out, very well written, just like a great execution of an idea. I thought it was a super clever idea, really well executed, and just the ambiance around like what's going to happen when they do the hand thing. Is this real? And everyone discovering that it is real, but then them like becoming obsessed with it, and some people being able to leave it alone and other people not, and just the ramifications of her going too far with it, but also like what it does to the little brother. And I love the family relationship of like she kind of loses her side family for a little bit, right? Because they're like, hey, you did this, but then once he starts turning, they're like, hey, it's okay, like, do you want to come see him? But then she takes him away. She's like, oh, this is great. I don't know, man. I thought it was like a great script, great direction, great acting. What are you gonna do, dude? I think it's like a great movie.
Yeah,
what? Tyler, we don't have to be the spooky boys, I know it hurts you so. I see it in your eyes. Here, hold out your hand. Hold out your hand. All right, now say talk to me.
It's happening, Cody.
Oh, man. What a great movie, dude.
No.
Oh. All right.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Let me sit here and let me give it some flowers. All right. Let me get into some of the stuff. Oh, let's talk about, for Cody, we don't got to talk about it. But when she does the thing where she's like, oh, let me try to talk to his spirit. Maybe it's disconnected. And the little girl pops up. And the little girl do? The little girl, ghost girl, says, talk to me. And it sucks her the other way. And I was like, oh, but it does do the same thing. I feel like it annoys me, but if you're not prepared and you don't have the budget to do it, then I feel like that's what you got to do. Is that a lot of these movies, a lot of A24 movies in general, I think, in my opinion, they struggle with the moment like 3/4 of the way through where they're like, oh, stuff's about to pop off. And they're like, all right, now forget about that. We're back to normal stuff. And it's like, oh, okay. What? So you went hard there for a second, and then you're like, but never again. Don't worry about it. That never happened. Forget you ever saw it. But I thought it was cool. It was like a very interesting thing. They didn't necessarily capitalize on it as much as I would have liked. But I think if you're not prepared to go hard in that way, which can easily turn your movie from like, oh, this is a great movie to, well, this is a cheese fest. Then I think that it's the right decision. But I thought that was very cool. And just the idea that it did kind of demonstrate that maybe not all of these spirits were bad. Like maybe they're not all bad. But
yeah, and that's what I kind of enjoyed too about just the party scenes is like, they're like, this spirit's a C word, and they're just like, you got a bad one, and it's just interesting to see how it affects the different people. And I don't know, man, I thought it was killer movie.
Yeah. It's, it's one of them, classic type of horror movie, just told with sexy teens instead of old people. And what is A24 if not?
That's what it is.
Classic horror
Tyler,
movies.
Like, I don't know much else to say. Teens, I'm happy to slap a rating on it. Do you want to slap a rating? Do you want to tease the other movies we're going to be doing? I kind of teased a couple options, but do you want to tease our other Halloween movies, or do you want to let them be a surprise when they pop in the feed?
I mean, considering I've got a couple that I'm going back and forth on, I think I don't have anything, and I know Tiffany hasn't given me anything solid yet, so we've really just got the ones you teased already. So, the question is, Cody, is this going to kick off? I have a choice here, Cody. Look into my eyes. I have a choice here. I can either say it's an arms race now, and I can pick a movie that's going to scare you.
What do you want to escalate? Look, I didn't choose Talk to Me as an act of aggression. I genuinely, when I got out of this movie, I was like, best horror movie of the year, might be a new favorite. I want to share this. I want to share this experience with so many people, And that's why I did it out of a place of love, And when I heard Bailey was doing Teen Witch, I felt we needed balance. And now the tables have turned, and Bailey picked movies scarier than Teen Witch. And it sounds like Tiffany is ready to arm up to the teeth. So my question to you is, are you going to be the fourth person to escalate? Are you going to bring balance to the force? That's the question.
Answer me this question, Cody. Do you like this movie more than...
Okay. Here's the thing. I just rewatched The Vavitch. So I have now seen The Vavitch at home and in theaters. And I think while I love The Vavitch, I think I'm prepared to say I like this movie more. It might be my new favorite horror movie. And while I love The Vavitch, I love Hereditary, I love Midsommar, I love Get Out and Us and all those, this movie comes in so clean, so hot, so fresh. It gets in, and 90 minutes later, we're at the credits. And I love that about it. I love the premise of it. I love the fun atmosphere, because so many horror movies, part of the problem is they get so dreary and so spooky for so long. And this movie has a handful of scenes where it's like people are having a good time. There's plenty of laughs along with this movie. And I don't know. I think it brings a wonderful balance to it. And while I love The Vavitch, I love Hereditary, they don't really have that balance of like light moments and joy in the movie. Whereas like Get Out has that because it's kind of funny at this, at the same time of being just like a thriller. But this is like a straight horror movie, but also it's balanced with some laughs. It's balanced with the right pacing and a good premise, and it ties it off. Well, it's all the things horror movies struggle to do. It elevates itself just a little bit by saying, hey, we'll keep it light for a few scenes, we'll keep it nice, hey, it's a good premise. You like the premise, don't you? What if we tied it off with a little bow, a satisfying ending to a horror movie, the most elusive thing in Hollywood? And it only cost $4.5 million bones. So yeah, I think it might be my new favorite. So did it work?
All right.
Did I talk you down? Oh my gosh. All right. Whatever.
You'll have to wait and see. Me. I'll let you know. That's the true whole.
All right. I hear you. I hear you. I see you. I feel you. What is your...
Tiffany has thrown out several.
Already seen it.
Including, I know Megan was one of the first ones she threw out there. I know you have.
Because I'm a cool dude. I see movies. I go to the theater. All right.
Just saying that's like...
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's where she started from when you were out here talking about how she was going to pick up a Tim Burton or Barbie movie. She started with Megan and has gone
I like
up.
Megan. All righty. What's your rating? Hit me with it. A B.
I'll give it a B. I think it was pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of horror movies, but I think it's good. I think it's up there with Midsommar. I like Midsommar. I'm still going to throw people at lights out because I just like
I'll
the
tell
idea
you this.
That we're all just
I appreciate the B, good for you. This movie, it's in the A+ club. It's in the Cody A+ club. I hate to do it. I gotta do it. I have questions about what other horror movies I've given an A+ to, but like, you know, it is what it is. I did.
Did you?
It's
I know
so
you
hard.
gave one to
Get
the
Out
witch.
has an A+.
I think so, didn't you?
Well, here's the thing. I just moved
a
away
mope
from it.
bet.
You
What did
gave
I
The
give
Witch
Get Out?
an F. I gave The Witch an A. Let's check Get Out as per your request. You gave it Get Out's an A from you, an A+ from me.
Oh, change this to an A then, and give it an A+ from me. It's got to be above
That's how
Get
it goes.
Out.
You got to live with yourself, dude. You got to live with yourself. I understand.
I just don't like horror.
I understand.
Movies,
Well, Get Out's not really a horror, right? It's a
thing.
thriller. It's a thriller much more than a horror. So there you go. This one is, I would call it a horror movie. You know, I don't think you could call this guy a thriller. It's got to be a horror. And it's a great, check it out, dude. You're supporting local indie YouTube dudes who are out here just trying to make a buck. So, you know, I loved it. It was a great movie. Horror movies are back. Talk to Me 2022 / I think it premiered in Australia in 2022, but you know, it's a 2023 movie worldwide. A24, Ally 24 out here doing it again, you know?
Yeah. And let's talk about the real win of this movie. And that is that they showed that you can make an indie horror movie with a dog and not hurt the dog. Everyone out here is like, get the dog out of here. And then the dog leaves the room and you hear a whatever, where it's like, oh, they killed the dog. You can just not. You can choose. Directors, look at me. Look,
now,
someone cares.
Who do we not care about? Kangaroos.
You don't have to kill dogs in your movies.
They gotta go.
Listen, let me tell you, Cody. Let me close this out with a little tale here. All right. As you know, my dad, he's an old man, but he was in the Air Force back in the day. Spent a little time in Australia at some point, I believe. Was there. He was living in a house in the officer housing in a base somewhere, doing something. They told him, hey, if you're out here, because it was in the area with the big red kangaroos, that'll mess you up. They'll punch you in the face and then kick your rib cage in. All right, that's what they'll do. They're like, hey, if you're out in the wilderness, you know, you're like in your front yard, you know, either one, and the kangaroo walks up on you, don't engage the kangaroo. He opens his door, walks out because he hears a scuffle. From America, from California, what does he think? Damn raccoons out here in my trash. Opens the door, 6 foot tall kangaroo digging in his trash can.
Okay, all right.
That's a
they gotta do another movie,
right
same directors, but it's kangaroo based. Revenge of the Kangaroos. Oh yeah, that's what we're doing next. I'm gonna make a phone call or two. Yeah. Well, that's what's interesting is there's little ones.
They're so
and then
big.
There's massive ones that are like 6 foot tall and yoked. That, you know, it's like with how tiny your arms are and how massive your pecs are, these dudes, they gotta be benching like 420. You know what I'm saying? Like they could absolutely max out at 420 on the bench press. And what, you're going to talk about squats? This dude's got to be squatting 550, 650 maybe. You know what I'm saying? And it's just around, you know? It's just there. In the wild. Unchecked. Oh, yeah. Oh, Tyler, you know, it's just a pleasure. Thanks for suffering through a horror movie for me. But, you know, it's October. It's spooky season. Cheers. We got more spooky movies coming your way. Thanks for watching. Thanks. Oh, no one watched. Oh, no. I messed up. Thanks for listening. You can share us, review us, rate us, engage with us at Opinion Havers. Until next time, watch movies.
And have opinions.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to them for not making the hand close, you know?
Oh, they made
just being like, no, it's spooky.
There you go.
About Gotta what? Gotta pick Harry Potter and something, whichever one the hand closes on him. Scary.
Oh, man.
It's a jump scare fest if I ever seen one.
It's the devil's book. You know what I'm saying? Those Harry Potters.